Hi, I'm Greg Hunter. Welcome to USAWatchdog.com. Well, back by popular demand, and no kidding, I've had a lot of people email me and also comment on the site telling me to please get Dr. Jim Willie back on. And we have Dr. Jim Willie back on. Dr. Jim Willie, thank you for joining us today on USAWatchdog.com.
Always a pleasure to be back, Greg.
You, of course, are the publisher of the Hat Trick letter, which can be found on goldenjackass.com. And I really appreciate you being here. And I want to just kind of, before I start asking you a question, tell you that you have been really, you've made some big calls, many big calls, and I can't enumerate them. But one of the things you've said in the last few months, just talking with me and your writings, that the U.S. would become increasingly isolated. And boy, we can't find anybody to help us bomb Syria. If that's not the definition of increasingly isolated, I don't know what else. Bravo on a really good call. You also said that this G20 meeting was going to be really important, not just on the economic front, but it looked like it's important on the political front as well, but particularly on the economic front. Let's start with the G20 and the press conference the president gave last week. I know you're not a political. I know you really are a nuts and bolts numbers guy, but you don't really follow the politics. But he's going to address the American public on Tuesday of this coming week, that's tomorrow, and he's going to tell them why he's going to take action. Wants them to know, wants America to know what he's doing before he does it. Even though it looks like he's going to get up to 300 no votes in the House of Representatives. What's your assessment of Barack Obama and his bomb or not to bomb, it looks like bomb, Syria campaign?
Well, as you know, I don't get too embroiled in the politics. I regard him as a puppet, a Manchurian candidate, and a clown. I really don't pay much attention to what he has to say because you have to interpret all the lies. What I try to do is focus on what's really important and what he is reacting to, because the U.S. ship of state is sinking and it's a derelict vessel. I don't really care about approval for war actions because since Vietnam, since Nixon, since the War Powers Act, the United States has really been run by the White House and the military and the National Security Agency. They do whatever the hell they want. There's no congressional approval of war actions. There hasn't been in 30 years, so I don't give a good goddamn what they do in this congressional meeting.
All right, what kind of a message does that send to the world that we have 300 no votes in the House of Representatives? To you, does that just doesn't make any difference then? They're going to do whatever they want to do anyway.
I think they're going to do whatever they want to do anyway, yes. Unfortunately, Obama has backed himself in a corner. All these Iran sanctions and actions directed against the allies of Iran, the partners of Iran, the associates like India and Turkey, and now Syria, they've all backed him into a corner. Now he cannot gracefully step back and say, oh, no, military strikes are not a good idea. We don't want to rain 200 cruise missiles on Damascus. It wouldn't be constructive. He looks weak. He looks backed in the corner. He looks just like Bernanke, who has no exit strategy.
Very good correlation.
They're all tied together, Greg, because a lot of the actions out there are directed against the dollar, and the U.S. press and the U.S. White House and the U.S. congressional leaders, they've got an uncanny knack of describing and framing the Syrian problem as one of human rights, of chemical abuses, of innocent civilians being harmed. What about the harm done from food prices from the Fed's monetary policy? Syria, I'm sorry, we don't want to get to Syria right away, but all this is about Syria, and the G20 is now being diverted by Syria. But this G20 focus is really about the dollar policy and the Fed's monetary easing and bond purchases. The rest of the world doesn't want the dollar to be debased so thoroughly. They've got reserves. We invite the emerging nations to be industrial plants and be, the fabrication plants for building things that are